Good evening, everyone. Requesting all of you to please take your seats. We are just having 10 more minutes to begin the event. All the staff members who are outside, please get into the auditorium. All the staff members outside. Supervisors, please help in getting all the staff members inside. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Please take your seats at your designated tables. Settle down. Can I request everyone to be in your designated places so that we can begin? Okay, here it goes. Once again, good evening. I did not hear. Good evening. Please get back to your places. Wherever you are supposed to be, you can take photos after the program as well, with your awards in hand.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor and profound joy that we welcome you to this evening to the 13th Blue Ribbon Award Ceremony 2025. For 13 remarkable years, the Blue Ribbon Awards have stood as a symbol of distinction, acknowledging individuals and organizations who exemplify the highest standard of achievement and service. This evening is not merely an occasion of accolades. It is a celebration of values, of milestones, and of the relentless pursuit of excellence. As we commence this year's ceremony, let us reflect on the journeys that brought us here, the challenges that have been transformed into triumphs, and the shared hope that fuels our collective future.
This year also marks a special milestone, 35 years since our school began as the kindergarten starters and has since grown, evolved, and transformed into this proud institution we now know as GEMS Legacy School. On behalf of this organization, it is my privilege to extend a heartfelt welcome to you all. May this night inspire, uplift, and remind us all that excellence, when recognized, becomes the standard upon which tomorrow is built. At this moment, I invite you all to rise in unity and respect as we honor the nation with singing the national anthem.
You may now be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to welcome a leader who embodies both purpose and passion in equal measure. The principal and CEO of GEMS Legacy School and also executive leader for climate change, GEMS Education, a role in which she has pioneered sustainable practices, inspired thousands of students, and set benchmarks for schools around the globe. Mrs. Alexander is a leader who does not just simply speak about sustainability, she lives it. From embedding climate literacy into classrooms to championing eco-friendly initiatives that ripple far beyond her classroom walls. She reminds us that education is not just about preparing children for the future, but also safeguarding the future itself. But there is another side to Mrs. Alexander that many admire, just as much her relentless commitment to personal growth. Beyond her busy days of shaping young minds and driving global conversations on sustainability, she also dedicates her time to her personal fitness. Yes, while most of us look for excuses to avoid the gym, she makes it a part of a daily routine, proving that leadership is as much about discipline and balance as it is about vision. Truly, Mrs. Alexander is a role model who shows us that saving the planet and lifting weights can in fact go hand in hand. So please join me in welcoming an educator, a change maker, and a true force of nature, Mrs. Alexander.
Every year, Zara's welcome is resounding, and I really don't know how to follow that. It's been a wonderful 13 years, so welcoming all of you to the 13th edition of the Blue Ribbon Awards. It's been a pleasure. I remember the very first one in this very same hall. There was no stage. There was a few tables and chairs, but we began the awards function because I think it's very important to recognize, celebrate, and showcase the wonderful work that the staff do. And so to celebrate with us this evening, we have Toby Gregory as our chief guest. He's with us here this evening, as also Rajni Nalla, who is the founder of True City. She's also with us as our guest of honor. Thank you both for taking the time to be with us here this evening. I thought long and hard about what I should share with staff for the 13th year in succession. Just to let you know, there are almost 30 of you who are receiving this award for the very first time. And there are 3 of you who have won it for 13 consecutive years. And in between, there are 120 with varying numbers that I collated. But it gives me great joy to see everyone aspiring and wanting to achieve this award. This has become a highlight of our calendar. But then again, I thought about, after all these awards, sometimes when I sent out a survey, teachers return it with, we don't feel recognized. And so I thought about the word recognized and recognition. And I realized that it's a pyramidal structure. Everyone's striving for events like this, to be recognized on a platform, to hold a plaque, to take a few photographs, put it up on Instagram and Facebook and say, we've finally made it, we've got the Blue Ribbon Awards, or we've got some wonderful award which has been recognized around the world. And I thought of the 350 odd people who are not here, who are probably watching us live stream, whose parents and friends are watching you being recognized. And I want to tell you that recognition, I'm going to turn it on its head and say, every single day, we are recognized, but we don't value that recognition. We're recognized by our stakeholders, by your children, by colleagues, by parents. It may be via email, it may be a smile, it might be a child saying, now I've understood what you've taught me. It may be your husband or wife or your own home people in the house who are recognizing you and the value of what you do. But we don't accord it that value. And we continue to strive for plaques and awards and rewards. Of course, you must. But every day, if you ask yourself, there is recognition, but we ignore that recognition. We don't value it. And I want to encourage everyone, those who are here and those who are listening to me online, look for those moments, treasure those moments, because those moments are your real reward. They come from the people you serve. They come from the people to whom your actions and your intelligence and your uniqueness contribute something. So that's the first thing that you must remember about recognition. The second is that every day somebody steps up for you because of your circumstances that you're in. It may be you're feeling tired, or you want to take a day off, or you need help with some of the projects that have been assigned to you. They step up because they value you. They see you. They see your struggle. And every day, it may not be me, it may not be the vice principal, it may not be the head of section. Every day, you're valued because your colleagues, your co-workers are stepping up, your family, because they understand your circumstances. But still, we don't accord it enough importance. We're still craving for the plaque. We're still craving for the moment of glory. Every day, we're being recognized and valued. Pay attention to those little moments. The third thing is when you realize you're making progress from your starting points. And that can only be recognized by you because all your contexts are different. You might be all serving in the math department, all in the same year group, but each of you have your own journeys. You have your own path, and you can't compare yourself to another. If you've moved from your starting point and you've reached far ahead, you've progressed, and the only person who can champion and celebrate you is yourself. Don't decry and say, I need this validation only from outside. You know better than everybody else if you've made progress. And you should champion yourself and say, well done to yourself, because those are very important reminders that if you don't value yourself, you're less likely to be valued by anybody from the outside. So make sure that you recognize that progress. And finally, the rewards and awards will come. These are a validation of all the things that you've been doing through the year in a consistent manner, which has resulted in this evening's recognition. But I also want to point out here that this is a mere reflection of what every team member has enabled you to achieve. What we achieve as leaders or people is always not a solo effort. It is a coming together of the several things other people have done for us that have enabled us to step up this evening to receive this award. So I'll give you a cooking analogy and say, we all have particular characteristics about ourselves. Some may be like ginger or spice, some may be sweet, some may be staples like rice or wheat. Every day, we cook up a feast for our children. All of us may not figure in that feast every day, but each of you, you can't change a piece of ginger can't bring another quality to the food. It is used as appropriate, and it lends its own unique flavor to the food that we prepare. So each of us, we shouldn't be trying to be rice when we are a piece of ginger. Both are needed in the biryani, and without the ginger, the biryani would be very, very bland. So I asked myself, where do all the other people stand? The leaders, your family. They're the salt. Too much of it, and it kills the taste. Too little, it doesn't bring out the flavor. They're not seen, they blend seamlessly into every morsel of that food. That's how you as a leader, your families who are standing behind you, make sure that they enhance every quality about you. So some things that come into shape in our lives is not because of our own greatness or our own abilities. There's always that salt. If you can identify who they are, what they are, which enhances your qualities and brings them to that perfect kind of dish that is prepared. And sometimes salt has to be withdrawn like in the dessert. They don't have to be everywhere. You need to make sure that as leaders, you are there for the purpose of bringing out the best in those you serve with. I would want you to remember that people are not under you. I won't say I have 450 or 691 staff under me. I have the opportunity to serve 691 people. And so it should be with you that you learn to hold yourself back so that you can at times be that salt for somebody else. Every day, it may not be your time to come up and celebrate, your time to be recognized here on a platform. But at the same time, you must remember that every ingredient has its own particular quality. And you must learn to enhance that and lend its flavor, because that is what makes our community. And tonight, I couldn't be prouder, because as I was about to leave my office, I have come to understand that our school has been recognized as a Microsoft Showcase School for the 8th year in succession. And what's more, last year I told you I want every one of you to be a Microsoft Innovative Expert, and you have come good. We have 100% of staff who've been certified as MIEEs. And that's really something I don't think GEMS, I don't think a single school, I can quite confidently say, across the world will have every staff member an MIEE. This includes our Emirati staff, so a big shout out to all of you, those who are here, those who are not here. Every one of you is an achiever. And I will hold another occasion, hopefully with members from Microsoft, to celebrate this singular achievement, which I think I throw anything at you and you actually do it. I think that's what I love about this staff. You became the first school to be certified as UN certified climate change teachers. And here you are again, the first school that I know of, and I don't think I'm wrong when I say there will be no school of this size with 335 plus staff members, all of whom are certified as expert educators in Microsoft. You know what that means for our children? When you are educated, there is not a chance that they will not benefit from that expertise. Why do I ask you to learn? So that when you learn, you become so good that some of it has to rub off on the children. And they are the final recipients of your skills. So this is not just to get a title that we're the first school with everyone certified. If that keeps you happy, that's great. But what I want is for our children. I want more for our children. And the only way we can give more to our children is when our teachers are appropriately qualified. So tonight is your night to shine. And thank you all for the hard work that you do. This one day is not enough to say thank you for the wonderful work that all of you do. And to all the parents, spouses, children who are listening, who are not here, It is because of you that our teachers are able to give the kind of work they are in this school. You've stood quietly by supporting them in their house, making sure that you don't grumble too much when they work overtime, correcting papers, working on projects. If it weren't for the husbands and the wives who are not here, if it weren't for the children who showed forbearance and said, okay, Mama has this event and I need to be patient, I don't think you could have delivered. They are very much the salt in your food. They are very much present here, even if they're not here physically. And I want to recognize and acknowledge that, and also acknowledge the 300 odd ancillary staff, the people who put together these functions, the people who make sure that everything moves seamlessly, who bring you on buses, who make sure that your school is clean. Often I wonder, we crave this recognition. I'm sure they do too. And very rarely do we celebrate them in the manner that we celebrate our teachers. And so I think today I'm going to commit to an evening like this for our ancillary staff. So Tiju, it will be no less in any way. It will be just as a grand a celebration. And I think if our teachers crave it, our ancillary staff who work relentlessly every day are deserving of that kind of recognition as well. So we'll begin our very first awards for the ancillary staff starting this year. So thank you all for having come.
Thank you, ma'am, for that inspiring speech. Proof that whether it's saving the planet or lifting at the gym, you always raise the bar. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome our esteemed chief guest now for this evening, Mr. Toby Gregory, founder, Plastic Pledge, founder of and project director of Arabian Ocean Rowing Team Communications and strategy consultant. From journalism to advising royal families, ministers, and CEOs, to rowing unassisted and unsupported across the Atlantic and Arctic Oceans, our guest embodies resilience, courage, and purpose. A journalist and strategist with a mission, he has worked across the globe, empowering leaders to drive meaningful change. Having taken on some of the world's toughest endurance challenges, from the Marathon des Sables to swimming amidst Arctic icebergs and making history as part of the first mixed gender team to row the Arctic Ocean, our guest has proved to the world that greatness is diligence. Beyond these extraordinary feats, his true legacy lies in advocacy for our planet. Through initiatives such as the Plastic Pledge and the Ocean Guardian program, he has inspired students, businesses, and communities to take meaningful steps toward protecting the environment. In partnership with the United Nations Environment Program and other global organizations, he continues to deliver messages of hope, resilience, and urgent action to audiences worldwide. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our chief guest for tonight, Mr. Toby Gregory.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would also request Mrs. Asha Alexander to please join Mr. Gregory in giving away the awards. So, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to present the most esteemed honor of the evening, the Principal's Award for Excellence. This award is not simply a recognition, it's a legacy. It is the beacon that represents resilience, brilliance, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. To earn this distinction is to stand at the pinnacle of achievement, to be the one who not only raises the standard, but redefines it for all of us to follow. Tonight, we applaud those individuals whose journey inspires us all, whose dedication uplifts us and whose success reminds us that true greatness is not given, it is earned. So it's my pleasure to begin the awards, and the first awardee is none other than our head of upper primary, Miss Anita Krishnan. And joining her is CDIO, Miss Bhavna Sajnani. Moving on, we have Head of Inclusion, Miss Bhuvana Ramakrishnan. And joining her is Head of Middle School, Miss Ashwati Vinod. Head of Assessment, Miss Maureen Matthew. And joining her is the Deputized Head of Lower Primary, Miss Ananya Chakrabarti.
Next up, we have our educational supervisor, Ms. Pratima Verma, and joining her is my co-host, Ms. Zara Shirazi. Next up, we have our educational supervisors, Ms. Sanyu Matthew and Ms. Shabnam Muhammad. Up next, we have our KSDA coordinator, Ms. Virginia Shihata, and the head of PE, Mr. Paramjeet Singh. Up next, we have our educational supervisor, Ms. Valentina Samuel, and our CBSE coordinator, Mr. Umair Bhatt. Up next, we have our school marketing and media specialist, Mr. Nitesh Chaturvedi, and we have our TLC, Ms. Namita Sati. Next up, we have the head of EAL, Ms. Renuka Chabra, and our Emirati coordinator, Ms. Lamia Ahmed. Up next, we have the head of Pastoral Care Secondary, Ms. Vinnie Agnes, and the head of Pastoral Care Primary, Ms. Olivia Mascarenes. And in the end, ladies and gentlemen, we have two of the most coveted people up here. Can we please have our Vice Principal, Ms. Lata Venkateshwar, and the Dean of Studies, Ms. Althea Vaz.
This evening, we extend a special recognition to our Principal and CEO, Mrs. Alexander, a true sustainability champion whose vision nurtures both people and planet, reminding us that leadership, when rooted in purpose, becomes a legacy in itself. So as we zoom through this night of brilliance, let's give a huge shout out to our senior leadership team, the masterminds behind the magic. These are the people who've kept our school running smoothly through twists, turns, and unexpected surprises, all while making it look effortless. Let's give it up for our senior leadership team, the unstoppable engine behind everything we do. They are the planners, the problem solvers, the people who somehow turn chaos into order while smiling like it's just another Tuesday. No capes, no superpowers, just endless meetings, mountains of emails, and the uncanny ability to make even the trickiest challenge look easy. Simply put, they don't just keep the school running, they make it soar. So, to begin with, may I please call our first SLT to receive the awards, the Accounts Manager, Mr. Bijoy. Joining him is Head of Kindergarten, Miss Nina Cherian. And the next is my co-host, Dean of English, Mr. Abhinav Mishra. And joining him is none other than our KG Supervisor, Miss Vinitha Romel. Up next, we have our Educational Supervisor, Miss Radha Madhukar. Joining her is Miss Pearl Gomes. Up next, we have Educational Supervisor, Ms. Shania Rodrigues and Ms. Venecia D'Souza. Coming up next, Educational Supervisor, Ms. Prachi Pilvankar and Ms. Hannah Lewis. Next we have Educational Supervisor, Ms. Nicolette De Silva and Ms. Fatima Anis.
Up next, we have our supervisors, Ms. Safura Anwar and Ms. Ifat Beg. Up next, we have the Assistant Head of Assessment, Ms. Sandhya Prashant, and our Supervisor, Liaquat Ali sir. Up next, we have our two supervisors, Ms. Nisha Mohsin and Ms. Sneha Nair. Up next, we have our two supervisors, Ms. Nashwa Ahmed and Ms. Aya Atia. Unfortunately, Ms. Nashwa couldn't make it today. Up next, we have our two supervisors, Ms. Moona Kamal and Ms. Ashba Fatima. Up next, we have our two TLCs, Miss Elaine Rebello and Miss Jamie Rebello. Up next, we have our two TLCs, Miss Janelle Holmes and Miss Ashwini Nair. Up next, we have Mr. Winston D'Souza and Miss Jennifer Damian. Up next, we have Ms. Fatima Roshanara and Ms. Sara Carvalho.
Coming up next, we have Head of Arts, Ms. Tejasvi Lakshmikant and Ms. Euphemia Jarain. Coming up next is Miss Leona Rodriguez and Miss Sara Carvalho. And Miss Shweta Sharma, the digital leader, who's not in today. They say teachers affect eternity. No one can tell where their influence stops. And looking around, it's clear that's true. Our teachers leave a mark on every student, every lesson, and sometimes even on the school's timetable when they magically make everything fit. They turn chaos into learning, deadlines into accomplishments, and the impossible into, oh, we can do this. Please welcome Mrs. Alexander. She's already there on stage, and we continue with the Teachers Awards with Miss Alfia Saifi and Miss Benita Peter. And moving on, we have Miss Manali Sagar Bhavishi. Joining her is Miss Amara Moin Qadar Moiddin. Coming up next is Miss Zeenat Khan and Miss Zulekha Altaf Batatawala. Next, we have Alia Hassan Mohammed Khamis Al Balushi. Joining her is Ms. Sara Al Saeed Surur Al Mas. Up next, we have Ms. Sheikha Yusuf Mubarak. Joining her is Ms. Arshia Maple. Ms. Sheikha is not in today. Moving on, we have Ms. Nazahat Shahid and Ms. Sindhu Balakrishnan. Coming up next, we have Ms. Jainamma Manoj. Joining her is Ms. Fatima Kareem. Moving on, Ms. Mary Smita, who's not in today. Joining her is Ms. Fatima Jamil Nasir. Up next, we have Ms. Shrishti Nangalia and Ms. Chantel Mascarenas. Coming up next is Ms. Nikita Joseph, and joining her is Ms. Sabika Abbas. Moving on, we have Ms. Nafisa Sheikh, and joining her is Pearl Barnabas. Up Up next, we have Miss Tanvi Patel and Miral Dias. Coming up next is Ms. Zenobia Tanvi and Claudine Ann. Coming up next is Ms. Felicia Arajo and Ms. Gomati Srini Basula. Up next is Miss Elizabeth Ryan Chakrabarti. Joining her is Miss Neetu Sureshan. Up next we have Miss Atira Madhu and Miss Anjana Nair. Up next we have Miss Anjali Ninwani. Joining her is Miss Manjusha. Moving on, we have Miss Kirti Kedar Kulpe and Denisa Chettiar. Up next, we have Miss Shiza Sheikh and Miss Vyoma Chaturvedi. Up next, we have Miss Manju Sharma. Joining her is Miss Shehnaz Irshad. Moving on, we have two gentlemen, Mr. Pavan Kashyap and Mr. Sandeep Joshi. And now we have Miss Nelzita Mascarenas and Miss Shelja Patania. Coming up next is Miss Gretel Matilda Rodrigues and Miss Gohar Jahan Ansari. Thank you, Mr. Gregory, for doing the honors. We would be truly privileged if you could address the gathering and share your thoughts with us.
Good evening. Firstly, I would just like to say a huge thank you for the kind invitation for this evening. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful event. I think what the school do in general is absolutely outstanding, and I think you should all be incredibly proud. You know, you put in so much effort. I don't think people realize quite how hard teachers work. In the corporate world, when you have to go in at like 8 a.m. for a meeting, they don't realize that the teachers have probably been there for an hour or two already. And then on top of that, you know, you don't normally finish until the same time as those in the corporate world, and you do stuff on the weekend and the evenings. It's endless. So I'm always in awe of what teachers do, how they deliver, and most importantly, who they look after, which is essentially the future guardians of the planet, our children. So I've written a small speech. I do apologize. I will keep it very short. But I think it's quite important, and for me it kind of captures a lot of the essence of what I think this evening is about. So distinguished staff, awardees, guests, thank you. It's an honor for me to be here with you tonight at the Blue Ribbon Awards, to stand in front of a group of teachers, the people who shape lives, unlock potential, and inspire generations is more humbling than rowing across any ocean. When I think of resilience, I think of two groups of people, explorers and teachers. On expeditions, you face storms, you have exhaustion, you have setbacks. In classrooms, you have challenges that are just as demanding. Young minds need your guidance. The families are depending on you. And the constantly changing world asks you to adapt again and again. Resilience isn't about avoiding obstacles. It's about embracing them, standing tall in the face of uncertainty and saying, I will find a way. Every one of you in this room has done that, especially in the last few years. If we look back at COVID and the other things, you've been asked more by the world than ever before. Being the best is not about medals, it's not about world records, it's about consistency, it's about courage, and it's about perseverance. On my Arctic row, we were told that it couldn't be done. It was too dangerous, it was too unpredictable, and it was too risky. We became the first three-person team in history to cross that ocean. Thank you. Not because we avoided risk, but because we dared to face it. For teachers, being best means creating those moments when a student finally understands, when confidence takes root, when curiosity catches fire. It's about going again and again, when it feels like no one is watching, because you know the outcome is worth the process. You commit to learning, you innovate in your methods, you adapt and you persist. And you don't just focus on your own excellence, but you build it for others. Think about that for a moment. The impact of one teacher ripples across hundreds, if not thousands of lives. You don't just teach subjects, you teach resilience. You teach young people how to handle failure, you to try again, and how to aim high. So tonight, as you celebrate your awards, please, please remember this. Greatness is not found in comfort zones. It is found in daring to stretch, to risk, to persevere. You are not just teachers. Each and every one of you is a leader, mentor, and you're a change maker. And the truth is, we need resilient, excellent teachers more than ever. So please keep daring, keep adapting, keep striving, not by avoiding risk, but daring to take it. Thank you, and congratulations to every single one of you. Good night.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your extraordinary journey and for inspiring us with your passion for protecting our planet. Your words today have reminded us that resilience and purpose can drive real change in our world. Now, I would like to call our chief guest of honor, Ms. Rajani Nalla, founder and CEO, TrueCity Innovations Learning LLC, to give away another set of awards. Ms. Rajani Nalla is a teacher at heart and an edupreneur with over 20 years of experience in skill tech, learning and development, and banking. As founder and CEO of TrueCity, she is transforming education by equipping children and youth with 21st century skills and entrepreneurial capabilities. Through TrueNext, she empowers young innovators to turn ideas into impactful startups. A champion of digital transformation and youth empowerment, Rajani also serves on multiple advisory boards, shaping future-focused education globally. Please join me in welcoming her on stage. And we begin with another set of awards, but we missed out Ms. Princey Susapa in the SLT Awards, so I would like her to please come up on stage to receive the awards. Ms. Princey Susapa.
So next up, we have Ms. Nissi Elizabeth Daniel and Ms. Parul Dikshit. Next up, we have Ms. Sara Tambe and Mr. Hatim Muhammad. Next up, we have Ms. Gunjan Soni and Ms. Satyavani Shirke. Next up, we have Ms. Shibi Youssef and Ms. Merlin Matthew. Up next, we have Ms. Anshita Gaur and Ms. Mridula Fernandez. Up next, we have Mr. Clinton Cletus and Mr. Nitin Sharma. Mr. Sharma is not here today with us. Up next, we have Mr. Sami Deshmukh and Ms. Adina Babu. Up next, we have Ms. Suhasini Naskar and Ms. Rinku Patel. Ms. Suhasini Naskar is not present here amongst us today. Can we please hear it for them? Up next, we have Ms. Pallavi Upadhyay and Ms. Aya Omar. Up next, we have Mr. Muhammad Negi and Ms. Siham Haider. Up next, we have Ms. Asma Nabil and Ms. Asma Hassan. Up next, we have Ms. Iman Abdul Fateh and Ms. Mona Abdul Hakim. Up next, we have Ms. Safa Muhammad and Ms. Karima Resk. Up next, we have Ms. Mahreen Faisal and Ms. Lekha Ajita Rajagopal. Can we please hear it for them, everyone? Up next, we have Mr. Utpal Narayan Parashar and Ms. Reshma Raichan. Up next, we have Ms. Reba Uman and Ms. Revati Yagappan. Up next, we have Ms. Tahmeem Jalali and Ms. Sajita Ranjit. And at last, we have Ms. Afreen Mullah.
Excellence is never an accident. It is a result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Tonight, we celebrate the people who embody this perfectly. Our incredible administrative staff. They are the backbone of our school, keeping everything running smoothly behind the scenes, turning chaos into order, deadlines into accomplishments, and challenges into solutions, all with remarkable and a touch of magic. So let's award these extraordinary individuals who truly keep our school running like clockwork. So to begin with, may I call upon Mr. Vinod Ramasubbu, and joining him is Ms. Krishna Ghosh. Come on, my teachers, they deserve a louder round of applause. I'm sure you can do better than that. Moving on, we have Ms. Tony Sebastian and Ms. Jyoti Chandran. Coming up next is Ms. Kirtana, and joining her is Ms. Harinandat. Miss Honey. Coming up next is Miss Aarti. Up next we have Miss Lissy Vincent. We have Miss Sindhu. Miss Sindhu Kalungal and Miss Rekha Srijit. Up next we have Miss Krishna Ghosh, and joining her is Miss Jyoti Chandran. And last but not the least, we have Miss Maria and Miss Maria de Cruz and Mr. Rajesh Payadikar. And with this, we come to the end of the award ceremony. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together with a louder round of applause. May I now invite our guest of honor, Ms. Rajani, to deliver the concluding remarks. Please join me in welcoming her with a loud round of applause.
Thank you. I love your energy, by the way. Fantastic. All right. What a lovely event. I'd like to start off by saying a very warm thank you for the invitation. Thank you for inviting me to such a heartfelt and a meaningful event. It's amazing to see the beautiful, lovely, smiling faces coming up. And most of the school events that I've been to, you do have the teachers coming up and the teacher recognition awards. But what I found special today is how we celebrate each and everyone who contribute to the overall goals. Amazing. So a huge thank you for making me a part of this. And I'd like to take a small chapter from my life to be able to resonate with what's happening today. So back in the 90s, when I was a middle school girl, I was this very shy, would never raise my hand to answer any questions in the classroom. I pretty much was in my own cocoon. And then came this teacher in grade 8, Mrs. Vijaya Kumar, for English, happens to be my favorite teacher all through, who was quite intrigued that how is this girl who is a topper in academics, but would never contribute or would never discuss anything in class, can never come up and speak in front of an audience. Why is that? Slowly, she started working with me. She started guiding me. She started coaching me. And from that little girl who was in that cocoon, I became this person who started talking about my thoughts, articulating what I feel, understanding that it is important that what you have here, you need to be able to speak about it. And then slowly from there, my journey began. What started there, I've ended up becoming the first female school captain. A position was always reserved for the boys. I ended up starting my own 2 companies today and standing here in front of you and have been in positions where you've presented to the likes of Stanford and the big organizations in the world. And all that happened because of that one teacher. One teacher who believed, who took that effort, who took that time, and never ever thought that it's all right, it's fine, I have 30 kids in the class, why do I need to care? And that's exactly why teachers and educators in the room today, please understand, and of course I do know that you already know this, but it's wonderful to hear it from someone else too, that each of you hold great power. And with great power comes greater responsibilities. And that's why back in India we say, Guru Devo Bhava, which means that you're equivalent to God. You have that capability, accountability, and responsibility through which you mold lives. You may never know. A few years down the line, you may have one of your students standing up on some other stage talking about you. Could be an entrepreneur one day, could be a scientist, could be a doctor, could be someone else who's positively impacting the world, but remembers how you changed and transformed his or her world. And you obviously have the North Star. You're being led by someone who is a visionary, who believes in equal access and equal opportunity for everyone. So I leave with this. May you always continue to inspire. May you always continue to nurture, and may you always continue to contribute to building a better world for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rajni, for that inspiring talk. Your vision, dedication, and passion for empowering youth and transforming education have truly motivated all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this remarkable evening to a close, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our guest of honor, Ms. Rajni Nala, founder and CEO of TrueCity, for her inspiring words and vision, reminding us that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Thank you for motivating us all to nurture confidence, compassion, and to inspire young minds.
We would also like to express our sincere appreciation to Mr. Toby Gregory, from championing sustainability to leading daring ocean expeditions. His vision, energy, and insights inspire innovation and excellence, reminding us that excellence is never an accident. It is the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Our congratulations to all the awardees, the teachers, administrative staff, and everyone out there whose dedication, passion, and hard work make our institution a beacon of excellence. As John Dewey wisely said, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. So today we celebrate those who live this truth every day.
A special thank you to our organizing committee and everyone behind the scenes who made the 13th Blue Ribbon Awards a seamless and memorable event. Your efforts have ensured this evening was a true celebration of the achievement. Finally, to our esteemed guests, parents, and students online, thank you for being here and for supporting. As Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Your presence has made this evening truly special. On behalf of the entire team, we extend our deepest thanks to you all and look forward to many more years of celebrating talent, dedication, and achievement.
Before we conclude, we would like to extend a special thank you to all the families who joined us online. Your support and encouragement mean the world to our students and staff, and we're delighted to have you a part of this celebration from wherever you are. So kudos to all of you. And for our guests here in person, this evening doesn't end here. Please join us at the buffet and continue the celebration with delicious food, warm conversations, and wonderful memories. So enjoy the rest of the evening. Good night. Thank you, everyone.